Yeah, it would be good.
This is PvP News, your source for Blizzard information.
Hello everybody, this is RyCP,
And Jane.
host of the Victor Sanctum podcast, bringing you
This week in the news for Thursday, February 16th, 2017.
This week's news segments have been brought to you by
Trivia Geeks. Join host Sean Burns and his two wily co-hosts, Michael Johnson and Carrie Sims, in their weekly misadventures diving headfirst into this week's trivia pool. You can find Trivia Geeks on Twitter at Trivia Geeks Show.
So in general news, the BattleNet Launcher beta adds Facebook Friends integration this week. The improvements that were made are Suggested Friends, and Suggested Friends will provide users with new and easy ways to make new friends on Battle.net. The Facebook Friend Finder will allow users who have linked their Facebook account with their BattleNet account to find and add them as BattleNet friends. Mutual friends, or your friends of friends, will also be displayed in the new Suggested Friends section. Recently played with players will be gathered from recent games you've played with people that aren't currently your friends. And currently only Diablo is supported at this time, but they plan to expand this to other games in the future.
For friend list improvements, they are adding a new option for how friends are displayed and grouped on your friends list. All friends currently playing a game can be toggled to appear at the top of the friends list and will be grouped alphabetically by the game title. You can choose to show both battle tag and real ID for your friends, and you can also now ungroup your favorite friends. Ungrouped favorite friends will be displayed with a star next to their name.
There's also some Facebook streaming improvements. They've changed the way which Facebook accounts are linked with BattleNet accounts, and linking now goes through the BattleNet account management. This will allow you to automatically enable Facebook streaming and Facebook Friend Finder for linked accounts from anywhere that you log into Battle.net desktop app. Please note that the users that have previously used Facebook streaming will have to link their Facebook account to the Battle.net account again in order to stream. Click on the streaming icon to begin the linking flow.
Champions, I'm counting on you.
Alright, well, for World of Warcraft news this week, we had some hotfixes. So this week on 2.14.17, we had some hotfixes that went live on WoW servers. Now, for monks, Mistweavers, the Life Cocoon now correctly starts Soothing Mist when cast during a global cooldown, and Sheilun's Gift, that would be the ability that you get from your artifact weapon, starts Soothing Mist if the previous cast was Renewing Mist. Also in Player vs. Player, Priest, Ray of Hope should now continue to affect the target, even if the Priest becomes crowd-controlled or is killed during its duration.
Blizzard also released its latest build information for the public test ROM with PTR 7.2 build 23578. In the Department of Artifact Power changes, the developers were not really happy with the gap differentials between players from 7.0 to 7.1. So this week's PTR update, they attempted to tackle a problem from various angles. So for all weapons and specs, the maximum increased damage is capped at 10%, so that's no change, and the maximum increased stamina has been decreased to 10%, and it was previously 25%. For priests in the discipline spec, Tyranny of Pain rank 1, Pain Suppression also heals a target for 33% of damage prevented. Will of the Conclave, rank 1, increases healing done by 10%, damage done by 10%, and stamina by 10%. Shadow Priest will see the Mental Fortitude rank 1. Changes are healing from Vampiric Touch when you're at a maximum health, and it will shield you for the same amount. Shield cannot exceed 4% of your total health of the damage absorbed.
For Death Knights, Blood, they get a new ability that just is adjusted a little. It's Fortitude of the Ebon Blade, rank 1. It increases the damage of... it increases damage by 10%, armor by 20%, and stamina by 10%. For Demon Hunter, we get, for Vengeance, the Illidari durability increases damage by 10%, armor by 20%, and stamina by 10%. And for Guardian Druids, Fortitude of the Cenarian Circle, rank 1, increases damage by 10%, armor by 12%, and stamina by 10%.
For mages, the Arcane Mage's Phoenix Flames hurls a phoenix that causes 1 plus 389.4% of your spell power. Fire damage to the target, and any splashes, I guess that's 129.8% of spell power. Fire damage to nearby enemies. This damage is always a critical strike. For monks in the Brewmaster spec, Endurance of the Broken Temple increases damage by 10%, armor by 35%, and stamina by 10%. Paladins who are in the Protection spec, you'll see that Bulwark of the Silver Hand increases damage by 10%, armor by 20%, and stamina by 10%. Retribution Pallies have Ferocity of the Silver Hand, increasing the damage by 10% and stamina by 10%. For rogues, Assassination Rogues have Bag of Tricks, and it now reads, Envenom and Rupture have a 3.0% chance per combo point spent to smash a vial of poison at the target's location, creating a pool of acidic death that deals 6 plus 720% of AP. Nature damage over 3 seconds to all enemies within it. Poison is not funny. Okay, I don't know why I'm laughing. Urge to Kill, rank 1. Activating Vendetta now reads, grants 60... Is it 60 energy? Yes, I'm sorry. 60 energy plus an additional 0 energy over 2 seconds, not granting the return of all your energy.
For Warlocks into the Destruction spec, Flames of the Black Harvest, rank 1, it increases damage by 10% and stamina by 10%. For Warriors that are spec arms, Executioner's Precision, Execute causes your next mortal strike to deal 50% more damage. And for Protection Warriors, you get Protection of the Valajar. Increases damage by 10%, armor by 20%, and stamina by 10%.
For spell changes that also came with this build, Hunter Black Arrow receives a small buff where the cost has been reduced from 40 focus to 10 focus.
For mage spells that have been changed include Living Bomb receives a 4% buff to direct damage and 14% buff to splash AoE damage. Phoenix Flames receives a 59% buff to direct damage and 19% buff to splash AoE damage. Dragon's Breath receives a 45% buff to damage. Fireball receives a 36% buff to damage. Flame Strike receives a 41% buff to damage. Pyroblast receives a 75% buff to damage. Scorch receives a 10% buff to damage. And Fire Blast for all 3 specs Arcane Frost and Fire receive a 28% buff to damage.
Mage talents that were changed include Cinderstorm receiving a 11% buff to damage. Flame Patch receives a 136% buff to damage, while Living Bomb receives a 4% buff to direct damage and a 14% buff to splash/AoE damage. And Meteor also receives a 50% buff to damage.
For monks, with Chi Burst, Brewmaster receives a 137% buff to damage done by Chi Burst. Windwalker remains unchanged, and Mistweaver also receives a 137% buff to damage.
For all the priests out there, Smites, it actually got a buff, so that now it's 20% chance to reset the cooldown of Holy Fire, because it was previously 1%.
And finally rounding up the list here is Warlocks. Reap Souls, consume all tormented souls collected by Ulthalesh, increasing your damage by 10% and doubling the effect of Ulthalesh other traits for 5 seconds per soul consumed. Ulthalesh collects tormented souls from each target you kill and occasionally escapes souls it previously collected. Artifact, it's a 5-second cooldown.
Has arrived.
Do you hear its call?
for a simulation of the vernacular in Hearthstone, Scriffington of Perthhead.com posted an article this week regarding the movement to make wording akin to one another in the interest of consistency.
And Skiffington states, if you've heard quiet rumblings around the end lately, it might just be because the folks of like Disguised Toast who have been pushing for consistency across Hearthstone's mini cards. For the small problems like word selection to larger ones like the Druid of the Claw card, the way that it reads, there has been a long passionate group of proponents for quicker changes to matters such as these.
With it having been more than a year since Blizzard released a Designer Insights video discussing the inconsistency in Hearthstone, much less the fact that it's been even longer since they first acknowledged this problem. Skiffington goes on to mention, quote, finally a few days ago, game director Ben Bode has confirmed that an upcoming patch, presumably the one it has since announced for this month, will adjust Druid of the Claw's wording.
With the new press release that became public just today, actually, Team 5 gives us a view of what's to come with the new Hearthstone. As of 2017 marks the end of the year for the Year of the Kraken, and the beginning of the new Hearthstone year, the Year of the Mammoth. Each Hearthstone year brings a fresh start in the form of a new standard format, and once the Year of the Mammoth officially begins, with the first major expansion of 2017, Blackrock Mountain, the Grand Tournament, and the League of Explorer cards will become exclusive to only Wild.
Plans for adventuring in expansions. So looking back, Blizzard learned a lot in 2016 with the introduction of the Year of the Kraken. One of the things we'd like to put additional focus on in Year of the Mammoth is having additional deck building options and deck variety in Hearthstone. To help give players additional tools and options to accomplish this, we are changing up the way we handle our release cycle. Previously, a Hearthstone year alternated between expansions and adventures. For the Year of the Mammoth, their release cycle will include a 130 card expansion at the start of the year, a 130 card expansion in the middle of the year, and another 130 card expansion at the end of the year.
With the cards from Blackrock Mountain, the Grand Tournament, and the League of Explorers becoming exclusive to Wild, the Wild format is going to be more exciting than ever before. For players that are enjoying playing in Wild, we'll be supporting it in many ways in 2017. Sometime after the release of the next expansion, they plan to run Heroic Tavern Brawl utilizing the Wild format. With so many cards at your disposal, the most passionate and hardcore Hearthstone players and deck builders will be put to the test. They will also be collaborating with the third-party tournament organizers to promote additional Hearthstone tournaments using the Wild format. Whether players are dueling in competitive, standard, or Wild, we want our community to be excited about all the various ways to play Hearthstone. And they hope that additional official support for both formats will help accomplish this.
Those cards will be moved from Standard to Wild, and those cards are the Azure Drake, Sylvanas Windrunner, Rangaros the Firelord, Power Overwhelming, the Warlock class card, Ice Lance, a Mage class card, and Conceal, a Rogue class card.
And we can all celebrate the Year of the Mammoth together. So before the release of the next expansion, Blizzard has a flurry of activity planned to support its launch. Daily login rewards will be available for a limited time, offering Dust, Gold, and expansion packs, as well as a few other surprises in the weeks before the launch to blaze a trail for everything to the next expansion that it has to offer.
So they're a warden. Logging rewards aren't the only things that they're offering to get players excited for the new Year of the Mammoth. A new Hearthstone hero approaches the tavern. The new rogue hero, Meiji Shadowsong. Sorry, Meiji, I hope I'm saying your name right.
Maeve.
Maeve?
Maeve,
Oh my gosh.
Shadowsong, yeah.
Okay, well then, see, I'm so wrong. Hope he doesn't come for me. So he's emerged from the shadows, eager to become part of the Hearthstone collection after 10,000 years of tolerating bad, you are not prepared jokes from Illidan. Legion beware, adding this vengeful night elf to your collection will be easier than teaching an old fellhound new tricks. Just win 10 games of Hearthstone in standard rank or casual mode after the next expansion officially launches to acquire her.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blondes have more fun. See? So fun.
Frostmourne yearns.
I hear the wilds call.
To ask why we fight is to ask why you are playing Heroes of the Storm. It is for the experience.
Let's see. Crush enemies? Done. Drive them before me? Of course. Hear the lamentations of their women? Let's skip that one.
For Azeroth, play Warcraft Heroes, get rewards. So the quest is complete 15 Heroes of the Storm matches with a friend while playing Warcraft Heroes before the event concludes. Players who select Warcraft Heroes will still earn quest credit if their friends play using heroes from the other Blizzard universes. However, only the players who have selected Warcraft Heroes will earn quest credit. Players do not need to complete all 15 matches with the same friend in order to complete the quest. Now, for these rewards, as we mentioned last week, in World of Warcraft, you're going to get a Primal Flamesaber mount. In Heroes of the Storm, you get a free 10-day stim pack, and you also get the Flames of the Judgment Charger mount.
The Nexus introduces its newest hero this week, Lucio from Overwatch. So, from the streets of Rio to the clubs on King's Row, Lucio's beats bring the party to life and drive people to action. Now he's on tour in the Nexus, ready to break it down and to continue fighting for what's right. Lucio's trait is the wall ride trait, so when moving alongside impassable battleground terrain and structures, Lucio can walk through other units and has his movement speed increased by 20%. This effect stacks with other movement speed bonuses.
His basic abilities include Sound Wave as the Q ability, deal damage to an enemy in a cone-shaped area and knock them back. Crossfade, which is your W, you play one of two tracks that passively provide allied heroes with either a speed boost or a healing boost in a large radius around you. Activate Crossfade to swap tracks. So your healing boost, it restores a small amount of health every second to Lucio and nearby heroes. And for your speed boost, it increases the movement speed of Lucio and nearby heroes by 15%. Also, Amp It Up is your E ability. It raises Lucio's crossfade track volume for 3 seconds, amping speed boost to 45% increased movement speed and significantly increasing the healing rate of healing boost.
And his heroic abilities are Sound Barrier, your R key. After 1 second, Lucio and nearby allied heroes gain a massive shield that rapidly decays over the next 6 seconds. Reverse Amp is your R. You can blast Lucio's crossfade track at enemy heroes for 4 seconds, causing healing boosts to inflict damage every second and speed boosts to slow movement speed by 45%. A passive trait is Amp It Up's duration, passive increased Amp It Up's duration to 4 seconds. Lucio has just got me tongue-tied because he's just so exciting. So, listen this upcoming week for Talent Choices segment on Lucio during the Victor Sanctum podcast because, as you know, I love Lucio, and everyone should love him too.
Absolutely. With this week's new patch and release of a new hero came some balance changes to the Nexus, so here's what happened. The heavily impacted heroes, definitely you can go check this out. We've got Valera, Murky got a complete rework, Tassadar was heavily reworked, and Rexart got some significant changes.
Some other heroes received some changes as well, much more minimally though. So those include Butcher, Falstad, Greymane, Rangaros, Thrall, Zul'jin, Varian, Abathor, Nazebo, Lieutenant Morales, Muradin, and Zarya.
And this week brings new bundles to the Nexus. They're available for purchase. The new bundles are the Ribbit Lucio bundle. It's available until February 28th, 2017. And the 2017 Love is in the Air bundle, available until also February 28th, 2017. Returning bundles are the classic Love is in the Air bundle, available also until February 28th. And
you can look forward to also seeing these mounts added to the store. The Heartstone, available by purchasing the 2017 Love is in the Air bundle. And Flames of Judgment Charger, which is awarded for completing the For Azeroth event quest. There's some returning mounts as well, which include the Amani Warbear and the Cyber Ram.
And this week, one hero will receive a price reduction, so Karazim's price will be reduced to 7,000 gold in-game or $8.49 USD.
For this week's weekly sale from February 14th through February 21st, 2017, the item is Lyric, and it's his, excuse me because I'm sure I'm saying this poorly, Viracule Lyric skin, the Butcher Slick skin as well. So Lyric himself is $3.24 USD. The Viracule Lyric skin is $3.74 USD. And the Butcher Lisk skin is $4.99 USD, and I will never forgive Ryan for giving me all these hard words to say.
You should hear one of the very first episodes I did where I tried to pronounce Vrykul about 9 different ways, and it failed every time.
Oh, God.
It's hard.
His name is hard, yeah.
Yes. Now, for the free-to-play hero rotation, this goes from February 14th to the 21st, 2017. We've got Malfurion, we've got Vala, we have Diablo, Alarak, Sylvanas, Greymane, Rexar. Now he is unlocked at player level 5, account level 5. Varian is unlocked at account level 7, and Uther is unlocked at account level 12. Finally, rounding up with Nova, she is unlocked at account level 15.
So this week in Overwatch news, Blizzard confirms dates and times for competitive play finale. The Overwatch Season 3 end date has been set for Tuesday, February 22nd in the UK, ending the current run of competitive play. Season 3 will officially end on Tuesday, February 21st at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Wednesday, February 22nd at 0000 GMT. Blizzard has also confirmed that Season 4 is currently scheduled to launch 1 week later, on Tuesday, February 28th at 4 p.m. PST, or Wednesday, March 1st at 0 o'clock GMT.
The studio failed to mention what new plans they have for Overwatch Season 4. Game director Jeff Kaplan has already confirmed that new tweaks will be implemented. Throughout Season 3, we've been listening to the community and modifying our plans based on your feedback. A message from Blizzard reads, "If you completed your placement matches during Season 3, you will be eligible to receive a special spray player and icon, a special spray and player icon. For those who manage to break the top 500 players on your platform and in your region, they are set to receive an extra player icon and animated spray on top of the other seasonal rewards."
And in other news, hackers have been making life miserable for Overwatch players in Korea, which is not really new, but starting on February 17, Blizzard will be updating its Battle.net account policy in a bid to stop hackers from ruining the game. This means that only players with a valid Korean game license will be able to play the game in the region. Blizzard previously issued bans to roughly 20,000 players in the region after it was discovered that some hackers were using third-party programs when visiting internet cafes. With computers completely refreshing after players sign out, it's been a struggle to track cheaters down. Blizzard said that creating a pleasant playing environment was paramount to the team and that the studio is trying to issue countermeasures to combat the issue.
And Blizzard makes surprise character changes ahead of the event end date. Now, fans of Winston and Roadhog will be interested to hear that both characters have been rebalanced. Winston's huge head made him susceptible for critical hits, while Roadhog fans might be disappointed with the news that his hook is a little bit less powerful. Blizzard added the surprise changes to the last Overwatch PTR update, which means the Xbox One and PS4 players can expect the patch soon.
So here's the Overwatch PTR character changes in full. Roadhog's scrap gun, his spread decreased by 20%. His chain hook targets are now pulled to a location 3.5 meters away, up from 2 meters. And the cooldown has increased from 6 to 8 seconds.
And with Winston, the critical hit volume reduced by 15%. Now for Blue Post, Jeff Kaplan hinted that one of his favorite gun-toting, gunslinging cowboys should start making space in his proverbial closet. McCree missed out on the Year of the Rooster fun this past event, not nabbing a skin of his own, after a user pointed this out on the Blizzard forums. Jeff Kaplan himself had something to say. "I think you'll be pleased with some of the upcoming content this year," says Jeff Kaplan. Not much of a hint, but fans always love... not much of a hint, but fans always love some to guess and speculate. So, maybe we'll see. And that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining us for This Week in the News. Be sure to catch us next week for your weekly injection of Blizzard news. Look for this week's Victor Sanctum podcast as we discuss the Blizzard PvP universe.
You can find us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher, as well as victorsanctum.com. Join us in Discord for a live stream of the podcast, or you can find us on Twitch.
For Victor Sanctum, this is Ricey P.
And Jane.
Logging off.
We'll catch you guys next week.
I bring life.
Job's done.
Thanks for joining us for the Victor Sanctum podcast. Being a community-focused podcast, Victor Sanctum needs your help. Whether it be your questions, ideas, or topics, your thoughts, or fun ads and skits, send your content to victorsanctum@gmail.com. If you would like to be a part of our live stream, you can join us on twitch.tv/Victor Sanctum. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also find Victor Sanctum Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as our website. If you stop by to subscribe, please give us a 5-star rating. Your ratings help others find us on iTunes. We would like to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Without you, this podcast would not be possible. And thanks to the generous help of our patrons. If you would like to become our patron, visit patreon.com/Victor Sanctum and start supporting today. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.